What's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining me on another episode of my Photoshop for Business series. Today we're going to be focusing on designing a logo using Adobe Photoshop CC. So let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to want to go to File and Create New. And I'm going to title this DZ Logo. And we'll go with 1,000 pixels wide and 1,000 pixels high. This resolution, we want to have it 300 pixels per inch, and because this is a digital logo, we can leave it as RGB color and leave the background content as white. All right, let's click create. The next thing we're going to want to do is create a guide layout. So we go to view, new guide layout, and I have 4 columns by 4 rows with a margin of 0.05 inches. Okay. Next thing is we're going to want to put a border around with, let's say, we're going to have initials on the inside and they're protruding from outside the logo. So the border, let's do a polygonal shape. And I go over here to the polygonal tool. And I'm going to use this lime green with 15 pixels and 6 sides. Now I go right into the middle here and I'm going to drag it out. And I want the bottom and the top lines to match. So let's do something like that. And that looks pretty good. Okay. Now I'm going to press Control T and we'll make this just a little bit larger here. Okay. Just like that. And then I'm going to click down to bring it down a little bit more in the middle. Okay. So now that we have that done, I'm going to hide that and I'm going to start working on my initials. Now you can do the same thing as I'm going to show you up ahead just by clicking on the text tool and doing initials just by using the type. So you can do that and then follow the same steps that I'm going to show you and you can do the same thing. So I'm just going to delete that, but I'm going to work on my own initials. So I'm going to use the polygonal lasso tool. And let me just hide this polygon for now. Okay, so I'm going to start with a Z, and then I'm hoping that I can use part of the Z to create the D. So let's go in here. I'm just going to click here. I'm holding Shift right now to make sure that I get my angles right. And I'm still holding Shift as I do this. And still holding Shift. Okay, I want to do something like this. Let's give it a tail. And then maybe something like that. I'm going to bring it back. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's bring it a little bit closer like that. Okay. So I actually like neither of these. Let me try this again. Press Control D, hold Shift, and let's try this again. Give it a tail. Maybe something like that. It's a little bit narrow. Make it a little bit wider. And connect the two. Okay, you know what? I like the top part here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch this color to black. And I'm going to create a new layer and fill it in. Okay. So next, I said that I'm going to keep the top part and we'll get rid of the bottom part. So I am going to use the rectangular marquee tool and I'm just going to go ahead and drag it over the bottom and I'm going to click delete. Alright, so now we just have the top part. Press Control D to get rid of the marquee tool and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a duplicate layer. So I'm going to take layer 1 and I'm going to drag it over to the new layer, and that'll actually duplicate it. Okay, so now you see we have two. Now I'm going to press Control D and I'm going to want to rotate it so that we have the same on the top and the bottom. And let's align the two. Let's make sure that it's aligned. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so there's the Z. Now I'm gonna click on layer 1, copy in layer 1, and then I'm holding shift while I click on layer 1. I right click on it and I click on merge layers. So now we have just a single Z as the layer. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Let's do something like that. That'll look pretty good. Okay, and I said that I wanted to use part of the Z as the D. So I'm going to take this. I'm just going to go over here. Start right here, actually. So we have a good point. And go out. And I'm going to go right back to this point. And there you go. And I'm going to press Control C and Control V. And now we have another layer of that part. And you can kind of see how this might look like a D, but let's actually stretch it out and bring this up a little bit higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the polygonal lasso tool. Let's zoom in here. And I'm going to choose these corners right there. Actually, let's make sure that we get all of it. So I'm just going to go just on the outside of it. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to press Control T to transform it. And let's just bring it up a little bit. Let's zoom back out. And don't worry about it not looking perfect. We'll get everything aligned. Maybe something like that. Let's make it even a little bit bigger. Okay. That looks about right. So I'm going to click OK. And we got to make sure that that this point aligns with down here. So I'm just going to, oops. Okay. Going to use the move tool and click on select, reselect. And we'll just bring it down. That looks about right. I'm going to go out again. There we go. All right, Control D to get rid of the marching ants again. And let's actually move the D down so it aligns right there, which gives us a good place to use the rectangular marquee tool and cut this part out. Okay, there we go. So now we have the D and the Z. And I'm going to merge the two layers together by, again, I'm going to click on layer 1, hold shift, click on layer 1 copy so that both of them are highlighted. Then I right click on either one of them and click on merge layers. So now you see they're together. Okay, let's bring back the rectangle or the polygon and see how it looks. Looks like the D and the Z are a little bit big, so I'm going to click on Control T and we'll make it just a little bit smaller. Let's do something like that. Okay. Now I don't want the black, I want an outline around the black. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go back to the magic wand tool and I'll click on the D and the Z and I'll go to select and modify and then expand. And let's expand it by, let's do 4 pixels. All right, 4 pixels. So you see how the marching ants are just a little bit outside, they're 4 pixels outside. Okay, let's create a new layer and let's go back to that green and I'm gonna use the paint bucket and make it green. Okay, so let's press Control D And let's bring layer 1 on top of layer 2. So you just click on it and then you drag it up. So now you can see what the border would look like. Okay, let's go back to the magic wand tool. And again, I'm going to choose the black layer and I'm going to click on the same black spots. Okay, then I'm going to go back to layer 2. So now we're working on layer 2 and I'm going to delete, press delete. And then see what happens when we hide the black layer. There you go, there's the outline. Okay, so next I know that I'm going to want to fill in the green initials. So I have this galaxy image over here. I'm just going to use the move tool and I'm going to drag it in. Okay, let's bring layer 2 up so we can see what it looks like. And I know that I want a little bit of black and a little bit of red. So let's do, yeah, something like that. Okay, go back to the magic wand tool and click on the layer with the initials, and we're going to click on the inside of the initials where there's a blank space. Then we go back to layer 3, and this is the layer mask tool. It's a little rectangle with a circle. If you have something highlighted and then you click on it, it'll get rid of everything around it except for what's highlighted. But as you see over here in the layer, it's not completely gone. So you can always bring it back, or you can just hide the mask if you want. You just click on the layer mask and then you can disable it and you see it all comes back. You enable it, there it is again. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now the border of the initials kind of merges with the outside with a polygon. So let's fix that. I'm going to go back and click on the inside again and go to select and modify and let's expand. Let's expand by 10 pixels this time. You know, let's expand by 5 more. So go back, modify, expand. We've already expanded it by 10. Let's just do 5 more. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go back to the polygon shape and let's use the layer mask again, except for this time we are right now the only parts that are selected of the polygon are the parts really close. We're actually going to want to go to select inverse. So now we have everything besides the parts that are close to the letters highlighted. And then let's use the layer mask and you see how it kind of goes away. It gives us a little bit of space in between. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Let's see what it would look like on a black background. So let's go to this background. We'll choose black, paint it. Cool. Let's clear the guide so we can see what it actually looks like. And there's our logo. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, make sure you hit the like or subscribe button to be notified anytime a new video comes out. If you have any ideas for future topics, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you. Have a good one.